what is it that differentiates e-commerce winners from losers? Because I want to take at least 15, 20 minutes and talk about e-commerce.
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the biggest things about e-commerce is that, like you said, there's tons of people out there just giving advice on what to do it. The first mistake is that most of them aren't even doing it themselves. And so another thing that we bring to the table.
What do you mean by they're not doing it themselves? Like, be specific.
So,
what does that mean?
Yeah, so what that means is that they tried to do e-commerce once. They were able to get a store to, I don't know, $5,000, $6,000 per month, and they think they have it all down packed. So they completely shut off the e-commerce operation and just go into full teaching mode. And what ends up happening is that the results of their students end up telling you that, because their students are never able to surpass what the coach was able to do. You know what I mean? Now, I think that another major advantage that we have that just completely allows us to see success, even though there's so many people in the space, is because I'm able to bridge the gap between software and e-commerce. And I have that knowledge and I have the teams to be able to do that because of my other business. And so what that means is that as we do e-commerce, we identify where the pitfalls are at. Like, what are people having issues with? Okay, so people are having issues with advertising. People are having issues with products. People are having issues with email marketing, with all these different things. And what ends up happening is that we go out there, we build out a software tool to solve that problem, and then we package it up together with our training. You see that? I think one of the other huge things, I mean, this is huge because I've gone through other trainings as well. It's just that the biggest thing that I've noticed from the people that see the highest levels of success in e-commerce and the ones that don't, is that the ones that don't, they think it's all tactics and strategies and like all these different things. And the bottom line is that in e-commerce and in just every other type of business, it's really 80% mindset. And if you don't have that mindset piece down, if you don't understand the proper way to think about the different campaigns, the different products, when you're getting feedback from Facebook, what it is that you do and all those different things, and it's going to be very hard for you to see success in it. I mean, it kind of reminds me of something that you mentioned once, which was crazy. Like I always remember this, like on a daily basis. And it's that if you ever have any problem in your business, it's probably something that's being reflected from your personal life. And so as you get better, on a daily basis, and as you get better as a person yourself, then your business also does that. And so that's a lot of what we focus on as well. We don't only give you the strategies and the tactics, but we also help you in becoming a better person and teaching you the mindset part of things so that you're able to grow in all levels, which is when it's going to make the business grow. You know what I mean? Instead of only focusing on e-commerce.
So I want to talk about something that a lot of marketers that would talk to me about e-commerce won't talk about. And this is why I enjoy having you on, because I can have a realistic conversation. What should someone expect of e-commerce? You know, meaning like tell me or tell our audience a little bit about what should the journey look like? Because, you know, it's easy for me to say, for example, for watch trading, so like at Watch Conspiracy, someone comes up to me and goes, what can I expect? Well, obviously, as a marketer, I want to say, well, I have students making $5K a month, $20K a month. I have a student that broke $100K. I have another one that made $150. That's exciting news, right? But what is a realistic expectation of someone that comes into e-commerce today without the coding skills, the things you do? What should they expect of the business or the industry? Meaning, should they expect to make real money quickly? Should they expect to take 5 months? You know, what should their investment be in time before they can see a return?
So what people can expect from e-commerce when they're first starting out is that as long as you have the proper system, coaches, and you're following the right system, what's going to happen is that you're going to have your store, you're going to have the different products, and then you have the advertising. Now, what you do is that if you pick the products in a specific way, which is a lot of the things that we focus on and giving you the proper tools to do that, then you're going to start testing them using Facebook ads. And if you're doing it properly, right, this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're starting off, and is that if you do not test a product properly, which means that you're putting it out there into the market and you're basically getting feedback, and that feedback could be good, bad, or it could be somewhere in the middle. And so when you put out this product and you test it, you're going to spend anywhere from $50 to $100 in testing that actual product. Now, the mistake that most people make is that they spend like $300 in testing it. And so they use up more money than they have to if they were following the right system. And so let's say that you're doing it right. You have everything down packed and you're spending anywhere from $50 to $100 in testing this actual product. after you test that product, what's going to happen is that the feedback that you're going to receive will tell you whether that's something that you need to keep investing money into or whether you need to completely stop selling it and go on to the next product, right? Now, what we see is that on average, 1 out of 10 products is going to work out for you. And so what that means is that you might have to invest $500 to $1,000, $1,500, maybe even sometimes, for you to find a product that is going to actually make you a profit. Now, after you have a product that makes you a profit, then you have to go to the next stage, which is the scaling stage, which at that point, by reading the data properly, right, and there's certain ways to do that, you're able to identify that for every dollar that you're putting in, you're getting X amount of dollars out. So for every dollar you're putting in, you're getting $2 out. So what happens if you have a machine that for every dollar you put in, you get 2 out? Well, you keep putting money into it, right? And so what happens with people that come into our training program, and I mean, the people that come into our programs, they know that this is not like, oh, you're going to be making money in a week, or you could, right? But there's a process and you have to follow it. You might find it that short, but the possibility, the chances are that you might not. It might take you 3 weeks. It might take you a month. It might take you 2 months. But as long as you're following that system, there's nothing else that you need to do. I mean, we have students that come in here. Like, for example, we had a student that for the past 7 months had been trying e-commerce, and he had invested close to $15,000 into trying this thing, in ads in the store and just all, influencer ads, just all these different things. He started working with us about 2 months ago. Today, he's doing over $10,000 a day in revenue. Now, when I say revenue, in e-commerce, there's about a 20 to 40% profit margin. And so what that means is that he's making $10,000 a day in revenue, but in his pocket, he's keeping anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000, which again, it's not a bad day, but it just shows you the scalability factor compared to any other type of business. Like, you're able to go in 2 months from zero, like a brand new store, to these crazy numbers. Now, obviously, those are not normal results. Not everyone that comes in here does that, but we have tons of people doing $2,000 a day, $500 a day, $200 a day, which that in itself is life-changing to most people. And so it's pretty cool.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you, I was like, it's so misleading when we say, oh, you make $10,000 a day, you know, and that's what, I'm glad you at least clarified it. That's what differentiates teachers from marketers, right? Like, it's easy to say make $10,000 a day, but are you really making $10,000 a day, or are you making $1,000 a day, which is a significant difference, right? Like, significant. Right. So I love how you shared that. So share with me a little bit about, you know, where's the future of e-commerce? Because obviously, you know, this saying when they say when something's hot, everyone's doing it, that means it's about to die, or it's about to change, or it's no longer going to be as hot. So where's this heading? What should people that want to learn e-commerce today start preparing for?
So I think that everyone that's starting today, you need to start with dropshipping, just because of the fact that it's less risk. Now, how the workflow kind of goes is that you start with dropshipping, which means that literally in an hour time frame, you're able to choose a product and start selling it. Now, what originally starts to happen when you do that is that you start noticing a trend in the items that are selling the most from your specific store. So for example, let's say you put kitchen related products, and you put cat related products, dog related products. What's going to happen is that your store has this thing called a Facebook pixel, and that little pixel tracks everything, and it starts optimizing it, right? And it becomes more powerful going after certain niches than others. And so once you realize that, what you have to do is that you have to then convert your store into a niche store. And that's when the profits start becoming higher, and you're kind of cementing yourself more in the e-commerce world, right? Because the drop shipping, it's kind of like, it's a cash flow machine. It's like pump and dump. You're selling all these different types of items all over the place. But once you create a niche store, you're then able to start building a brand. You're then able to put the proper systems in place to make sure that your customer rating is as high as possible. And as you do all these things, then at that point, I mean, you're building something that is worth a lot of money in itself, right? Something that in the future you could potentially sell to other companies. Now, when it comes to the future of e-commerce, I mean, what's going to happen is that the cost to advertise is going to continue increasing, which means that the amount of money that you're going to have to pay Facebook and AdWords and all these different places for you to put your advertisement in front of people is going to continue to increase. Now, some people, they panic at this because people just hate change, and others just look at it as the cost of doing business. So what you're going to have to do if you're thinking about getting into e-commerce is, again, you don't have to think about that right now, but just understand that it's coming. And then what's going to end up happening is that as e-commerce entrepreneurs, we're going to have to start focusing on the lifetime value of customers more and more, the average order value of customers more and more, right? Which is a lot of the things that we analyze on a daily basis, right? Like we analyze all this data from the stores and the students and all this, and we identify, okay, what tools can we create to get people spending more money, right? So we're actually going to be in the process pretty soon of building a tool that's going to be focused on increasing the average order value of people coming into the store. And so the advertisements costing more is something that you cannot control, but you can control and do things to get people spending more. And if people are spending more in your store, that means you're able to afford more. You see what I mean? And it's just always kind of knowing what's coming in that sense and preparing for it before it even gets there. And if you're preparing for it right now, like all of our students are using the different tools and using everything, then it doesn't matter when it comes because we're already ready for it. You know what I mean? It's always a matter of being ready before that time gets here, which is when most people panic.